1519, Ferdinand Magellan set sail from Spain in an attempt to go around the world, and sailing by way of the strait that bears his name at the extreme end of South America and thence across the Pacific, he discovered in March 1521, after a 19-month voyage, the Philippine Islands, an archipelago of some 7,000 islands which stretches for over 1,000 miles between the Pacific Ocean and the China Sea. On April the 7th, he landed on the island called Cebu. Upon reaching a friendly agreement with the native chief and promising perpetual peace with his people, he made them subjects of the King of Spain. 19 days later, while attempting to subdue another chief on the neighboring island of Mactan, Magellan was killed. After his death, the remainder of his men returned to Spain by way of the Cape of Good Hope, and the first voyage around the world was completed. 43 years later, Miguel Lopez de Legazpi headed another expedition over Magellan's route, arrived at Cebu, and established the Spanish rule, which gradually spread and continued throughout the entire Philippine archipelago until the close of the Spanish-American War. Cebu, situated in the very heart of the inland sea, was an important trade center for ships from China and Malaya centuries before even Magellan came, and is today one of the three great ports of the Philippine Islands, with wharves and quays presenting scenes of prosperous activity. The principal exports of the island are coconut products and hemp. Sacks of copra, the dried meat of the coconut, are brought to the port in small island vessels and transshipped aboard steamers to all parts of the world for use in making soap and margarine. The other important article exported is the world-famous Manila hemp, universally preferred for ropes and hawsers for ships. The city of Cebu is built along the shores of the harbor, which is protected from tropical storms and gales by the island of Mactan, where Magellan was killed, and stretches off toward the foothills of a mountain range that rises 3,600 feet above the sea. The streets and low houses still have much the appearance they had in the days of Spanish sovereignty, though the island has been under the American flag since 1898. Cebu is not only the site of the foundation of Spanish rule in the Philippines, but it is also the oldest European settlement in the Orient. Within a kiosk in the plaza is preserved the cross believed to be that erected by Magellan on the spot where history tells us the great navigator landed. Before it, the pious burn candles and offer prayers to his memory. There are several historic churches in the city. One is the Church of San Augustin, in which is the famous Holy Child of Cebu, a wooden figure believed to have been given to converts by Magellan. The cathedral, reminiscent of Spanish days, is still the principal place of worship. The oldest street in the Philippines is Calle Kolan, Columbus Street. In the low houses, the leading families of Cebu lived in the 1600s. At that time, it was known as Parian or Priest Street, for nearly every family in it had at least one son in the priesthood. Fort San Pedro, founded by Legazpi in 1565, stands on the site of the first permanent settlement in the east under the Spanish flag. The settlement was then called San Miguel, later changed to the town of the Holy Name of Jesus, and finally given the original native name, Cebu. Today, the quiet old town is changed from a lazy, languorous Spanish outpost to a modern city under independent Philippine and protective American flags. Each year, more ships and more cargoes pass through the harbor into which Magellan sailed over 400 years ago, bringing with him the knowledge and advancement of the West that made Cebu the cradle of the Philippine nation. And though the great navigator, whose remains rest in the archipelago he found, did not live to accomplish his purpose, he was responsible for the discovery of a new route to the east and the first voyage around the world.